Hey YouTube, what's up? Scarecrow Kaiser here. I'm here to do my updated profile on my Kagero Blademaster deck. Now that set 11's out, so I'm gonna get started. For starters, we're running Conroe because he's really good. He was banned for a reason. He's a great card. For triggers, doing 4 Janet, and then 3 Raksasha, I think that's how you say his name, for 7 crits. People will know why Janet's here, but Raksasha here has a very cool effect. When a Vanguard dies, he powers up, and this deck obviously kills things pretty easily. So if you want to get this 10 shield from your hand, you could drop it to the field. You'll kill multiple things that turn, and this thing will get big. Like, kill 2 things, and now this thing's a 9k booster. Or you could use it as an attacker, even. Next, we're going with 1 Seal Dragon draw, followed by 4 Gatling Claw for a total of 5 draws. Kagero needs draw power to maintain hand advantage and stuff. I could get into a really long conversation about that, but almost every Kagero, there's a good portion of my Kagero decks throughout the years I've been playing. I keep coming back to this ratio. 7-5 works really well in Kagero. So, and then my last trigger is for Positive Draco Kid. Running him because there are times when you'll want to G-Guard into the Super G-Guard. Usually you're not using the Super G-Guard's effect, but you could just use it so that you're blocking 15 and then use Positive here to unflip damage. So for our grade 1s, running 4 Protect Orb, our damage unflippers. This deck is very counterblast heavy, even with the things that unflip in the deck, so you really need it. Running 4 Lava Flow, our Stride Fodder, who searches out our Blademasters. MVP grade 1 of the deck, 4 Adele. Very good card, 11k, and unflips damage. Very good. Usually this is the card I end up searching with my Conros, just to grab them and have them right away. So I'm putting out big numbers and unflipping. And then my last grade 1 spot goes to this new guy, Dragon Monk. You retire him at the end of the turn to unflip damage and draw. It's a cool card. As I said, this deck needs a lot of unflip because it counterblasts a lot, and he lets you unflip and trade field presence for defense in the hand to survive the opponent's turn. For the grade 2s, and speaking of defense, first I'm playing 4 10Ks. It doesn't really matter which 10K, honestly. I'm just playing the one with my favorite art that I haven't got to play in years, but having a 10k on the turn 2 ride is really good. Helps wall your opponent so you don't get rushed and stuff. And then later in the game, once you get your deck going, if you team up this card with Nadell, 10 and 21, 11, you're hitting 21, so it makes good numbers. Next I'm playing 3 Radiant Dragon. I wasn't sure I was going to really like this card, but I actually do after trying out some of the other new things. Went back to this thing. The downside of this card is the Soul Blast. The Counter Blast you can manage a little bit better. The Soul Blast is the down part. You're probably not going to see all 3 of it in one game. And if you did, you probably wouldn't be able to use all 3 of them, but he's still working pretty well. The fact that he powers up and kills the card is what's been doing it for me with him, so I don't think I would play 4. The Soul Blasting can get tricky in this deck. Then I'm playing 1 Neoflame, which seems kind of random, but I like him for the early games. If you draw him early game, he's a good card to drop. If your opponent tried to rush you, you can drop this, put pressure on them so that they don't minus. In late game, he's still pretty decent too. You drop him and use him to help clear the board. And the last grade 2 spot shouldn't be too surprising for Mabuti. This card's name is silly as fuck every time I say it, but he's a good card. Drawing a card and getting really big. This card was well designed. It was kind of exactly what this clan needed right now. And then for our grade 3 spots, we're playing for Cohen. Cohen's a pretty cool card. He's not a huge improvement on the old Blademaster, but he's still like an improvement. His GB2 is a very, very helpful skill. His on-stride skill, killing stuff, you don't always use it because sometimes you won't have your Nadels on the field first. So you'll just stride, not use his skill, then call Nadel, and then use like whatever your stride skill is and pop things. But it's cool. At least he gives like plus 3k to things, which can be very helpful. Giving plus 3 to Nadel, making Nadel a 14 then, and then giving it a 7k boost, and that means Nadel can hit 21, so that's cool. I'm also playing one old school Blademaster, just one, because it's not particularly good, but it's still kind of like the next best thing to ride if you can't ride Cohen, so that's why we're running just one of it. And then our last grade 3 spot, I'm playing 2 Wyvern Strikes. He's a decent rearguard. You don't use him as a rearguard often, but he's got a pretty good rearguard skill. He can kill things and power up. Mostly he's in here because we're using him for stride fodder, and he's got Blaze, so we can pick him back up with Blademaster with his GB2. For our G zone, running 1 Vortex. Its cards are first stride. Won't have to flip damage to get his skill, help us get to GB2. Usually his skill is actually not very helpful. Between like your striding and kill effects and stuff, he's not that, like, isn't accomplished much, but he's still there to get you to GB2. Then we're playing for Titan, blow up the field, has a crit. Like Ziegenberg is a good card, but he's not always the right option. So sometimes, like, let's say your opponent's at 3 and you just want to like wipe their board and put pressure on them to block the Vanguard, having a crit is like almost better. Like if my opponent's at 2 and I can board wipe them and make them worried about me like double critting them with a card that already has a crit, like making your opponent guard at 2 is a good play. Probably better than going Ziegenberg, because they'll just eat some Ziegenberg damage and not care, but this way you'll force them to use up their hand and blow up their field. And then for Ziegenberg, this card is freaking amazing. I love this card. Even if this card didn't kill a rearguard, if it just had the restand skill, it would be great. But it kills a rearguard and has a restand skill, like one of the best restand skills in the game. This card is fantastic. Then I'm playing 1 GB8. Not the best GB8 in the game, but it's still pretty decent, I guess. Usually I actually would rather stride Ziegenberg than this, but it's there. And then for the G guards, I'm playing 1 Azel Orb, 20k shield, 2 Nile Griffins. 3 feels like too much. It's hard to manage the resources sometimes with the counterblast and stuff, so 2 is working perfectly for me. 1 Super G guard for reasons I've already explained, and then 1 of the new G guard. These other G guards are helpful, but none of them block that much. This card can block for a lot. The downside, which is really big, is his counterblast, because this deck is very counterblast heavy. But you know, sometimes you're like, well, I don't want to counterblast, but it's either counterblast or die. So yeah. So that's it for here. One thing I'd mention, I guess, is there's no Seabreeze, and I can give a quick explanation for I'm not playing Seabreeze in this build. This deck is very counterblast heavy, and Seabreeze is a counterblast 2, and getting the GB1 if you don't have any face-up damage doesn't really like help you that much anyways, so I opted not to run it just to have better options for the majority of the time. Thank you for watching.